Hello everyone, I am going to show you my small stash of non-working surround sound processor today, and I'm going to give you some history and why I'm doing it. First of all, in 2020, late 2020, Mike Woodcock of Absolute Sound in Chatham, Ontario, and me started a line of basic entry-level integrated amp called Funkies. 3 inputs, 30 watt to 50 watts. The reason he wants me to do that because he wants something basic, my design, and entry-level pricing. And I said I can't do that because it's like I can't compete with anybody that make $599 like the Yamaha AS301, which is a very good integrated amp at $699. I can't compete with that because how many they built and how many I built one at a time. I do it one at a time, and they probably do 10,000 at a time. So that's out of the question. Then we start to think about it. What is the most expensive part of an integrated amp? The chassis, the transformer, the heatsink. And then where do we get those from? Literally cheap, broken surround sound processor. He get that a lot because he run a store that people that actually have surround sound at home, and those receiver last 5 to 10 years. HDMI chip burned out. The early one, the processor chip burned out because they run like stove hot. So they burn it out, and you can't have multi-channel anymore, you can't have surround sound anymore, so the people just basically throw it away. Or bring it to the store and try to fix it, and they turn out that the manufacturer don't support it anymore. So non-repairable. If the manufacturer don't support the product, it's not repairable, so you gotta buy something else. Literally throw the old one away. So he sees that as opportunity because we can get the chassis, heatsink, and the transformer. 3 most expensive part of an integrated amp, beside the packaging. So he asked me, can I do something, take all the guts out, put my new guts in, electronic parts in there, we use the heatsink, transformer, possible, and the chassis, the most expensive part, the chassis. I said, let me think about it, and then yes, we did. And we have been building that Funky series of integrated amp, and I will put the link of several videos of that Funky in the description so you can check it out. But this video is not for that topic. And then move on to early this year. I have started using 6 speakers to play 2-channel music. Now that's not multi-channel. Let me make it clear. It's not multi-channel. It's 2-channel, left and right from your point of view. 2-channel. It's always 2-channel, all analog, no digital, 2-channel. But I'm using multi-speaker, 6 speakers in 6 different positions. One at the real far front wall, one closer to you, and then one pair at the behind you that I call audience speaker. The pair that close to you is front stage front, and the one closer to your front wall, almost against your front wall, is the rear stage front. That's a 6-channel setup, and I also add a couple subwoofer that's called 6.2 channel, and I call it 6.2S 2C setup. I'm also going to put the link of several video of that setup in the description so you can check it out. Again, this video is really not for that 2 topic, but let me move on to this. So after set up 3 systems with a dealer in Toronto, George Taylor of On-Track Audio in Markham, I have 1 system, original system set up, and I'm doing the 2nd system using all my product, most of my product, and relatively expensive speaker. Not inexpensive, but not super expensive, but more well-known 2-channel speaker. And I have an idea that I want to find somebody that's willing to do this experiment, and I found someone. I want to do this experiment with a relatively cheap speaker. Speaker like you can buy from Kijiji and Facebook Marketplace for $100, $150. And where do I get amps from? I can't build it fast enough. If I build it, it will be expensive. And question is, do we need that quality of amps and speaker? I don't know. We don't know. That's what we find out. So again, where do we get cheap 2-channel amp and a volume control? Because each pair of speaker, 3 pairs, each pair of speakers have different volume. They play in a different volume to create that sound stage around you or sound stage within you. You have to actually set up to experience it. It's not a normal simulated surround sound. It's actually a analog surround sound. Of course it's simulated because it's a stereo reproducer system, but it's different than a simulated surround sound from 2 speakers. You have make sure that you understand it's 2 speakers or 2 channels. We're still talking about 2 channels. We are not talking about discrete multi-channel, no digital signal. So I need 3 stereo amp that have volume control. So I can control individual pair of volume of the speaker to adjust where the sound stage is and how much I want as a listener position involved into the sound stage. And that's what this 6.2 S2C system can give you. You are actually in the sound stage, not one of those simulated. The sound stage is not in front of you. You are not sitting 5 rows, the 5th rows in the audience. You are actually standing at the podium of the conductor. And in a small trio, you are actually on stage in front of the piano, in front of the drum kit, in front of the trio. You're on stage with them. So back to the hardware. Where do I get fast, cheap 2-channel amp with a volume control? And when I come along and talking to again, it's George Taylor of On Track Audio. He has an NAD surround sound receiver, has been sitting around for a while. He has mentioned it to me that surround sound doesn't work, but the 2 channels still work, and he want to give it to me to do funkies. And I thought, okay, is it really possible that the surround sound function doesn't work, but the 2 channels still works? So I have 4 of this in my collection, 4 of this surround sound in my collection, not taken apart. The rest I took apart. So I took apart ready to do funkies, and I have covers already half painted, chassis half built. Those I cannot test. So I brought these 4 out. I tested. 3 of them worked as 2-channel perfectly. This Yamaha even have some kind of a simulated digital surrounds in there. It's kind of fun. Is it really real? No, it's kind of fun. But for a strict 2-channel stereo with 2 speakers, they work perfectly. So I get 3 amps with 3 volume control. Perfect. I can do the setup with a little bit of cable. I can do the setup. So the next step is, can I actually just use the main amp, 1 volume control to control all 3 pairs of speaker, 6 in total. So I made an adapter attenuator to tap into the speaker output from this main amp to this 2. So this is your main speaker, one of the front pair. Usually I call the front stage front as the main, and then the rear stage front and the ambience as the follower, the follower with the from the main. So I can actually just turn this main volume control and adjust the volume or all 3 pairs of speakers at the same time. And then what I do is adjust these 2 volume, so the ratio between the 3 pairs, I can achieve what I want, adjusting 3 volume. That's the nitty-gritty of this setup with a high-level output from the speaker. And I'm going to do another video to do a detailed setup in the future once we have this setup. So back to the real main reason of this video. And I didn't tell you at the beginning. And if you have watched this far, you probably know and maybe follow me somewhat of what I have been doing. First of all, I'm a cheapskate. Selectively cheapskate. there are things that I'm not quite cheap, but there are things that I am dirt cheap. And second, I don't like waste. Waste is like just bad. Wasting food is one of the worst. Okay, I am not tolerate anybody that wastes food, and I will call them out and make them shame them in public. Okay, that's not the purpose of this video either. Did anybody of you know how many people actually has been forced to buy surround sound receiver just because they want to play a simple radio, 2 speaker, 2 channel, maybe put the CD in there, or even just streaming music at home, 2 channel, not surround sound. But when you walk into the big box store, they only sell you surround sound receiver now. It doesn't matter what you don't want, they still sell you surround sound receiver. The newer the surround sound receiver, the more label they have. Each label costs you money. I don't know how much the manufacturer have to pay those labels, meaning the technology that they use in there, but they have to pay some. And where's the money come from? You, the one who buy those things. And how many functions that you bought you never use? You answer that question. I never get into this. I got into some surround sound in the early, in 5.1, but less than half a year I take it apart or abandon it. I cannot stand watching movie. Surround sound, discrete 5.1 channel surround sound or even multi-channel surround sound doesn't interest me. So 2 channels, always 2 channel. So this thing works at 2 channel. Why are we throwing it away? But how many people actually thought about that using a, should I say broken or half broken surround sound receiver because the surround sound function doesn't work anymore, and use it as 2 channel? I doubted a lot of people actually doing it. Now, when I went online on Facebook Marketplace and Kijiji, which is the same as Craigslist in the US, I actually have found some people trying to sell the surround sound receiver saying that surround sound doesn't work, but it works on my CDs, work on my tape deck, and work on my turntable. Yes, they do have phono stage in there. Functional phono stage. Not necessarily very good, but functional. So for beginners, that's good enough. Now, so there are people that are actually using them as 2 channel and not surround sound. So if you are looking for something that relatively cheap to begin with, you can actually look for a half-broken surround sound receiver. And as a matter of fact, when you go online, they mostly sell you the one that actually works. So great. You can buy one for $50, $100. I just bought one for $30. I'm not going to put this video online until I pick that up next week. So it's $50. Usually $50 or $60 you can get a surround sound receiver that actually do your function for 2 channel. Use it for 2 channel. Don't expect to be latest technology for surround sound. It doesn't give you that. But if you pay $50 or $100, you can get 10 years old surround sound receivers that probably will work, and buy speaker from the marketplace that you can actually get anything from $50, not very good shape, but anything with $100 or $150, they're reasonably good shape. And I get a pair of EPI A1100 for $110 and a CAF C40 for $165. That pair is not really designed for surround sound. But I also have collections of a pair of Techniques. Now, I am actually facing the Techniques to the wall. You don't see it in the camera, in the frame, but it's a little bit of, the height is a little bit piercing, so I turn it around and it's actually make it works. Have some imagination that you can actually make something that not so good work good enough. So yes, you want to follow the rule if you're just the beginning, but after that you can experiment. Face the speaker away from you that actually sometimes work. And in this 6 speaker 2 channel setup, basically anything goes. Just try it. It won't do any harm. And depends on your room or your space, it might work. And in my case, the technique works perfectly facing against the wall. So The main purpose of this video really just want to tell you that you can actually buy a 2-channel functional amp by buying a surround sound receiver. It works. So now I am going to use this 3 surround sound receiver to set up a 6 S2C system. Subwoofer optional. But it works. It works, and I'm hooking this main speaker to speaker B. If I turn off speaker B, these things you can hear it works, and I can turn this down and can turn this up. So they all work individually or together with S. And if I turn the main speaker down, and I can still work on this. So I have 3 amps set up using one volume control and control all 3 pairs of speakers at the same time with adapter at the back, which is the only thing that you may or may not able to buy off the shelf. But if you can use wide splitter, you can use multiple wide splitter to actually achieve the same thing, but you don't have the attenuation. So something that you might have to make, or I can make it for you. But if I can find something you can buy off the shelf online, you just go ahead and buy it offline, because I'm not trying to sell you anything. What I'm trying to do here is show you can actually use old stuff to achieve something new. Not totally brand new, but new enough that not that many people actually thought about doing it. And you can actually have fun with it. There are people that use multiple amps to hook up speaker out of phase to create a sound stage within a circle. And I'm not doing that, because when they do that, they do it for a group of people. I have seen one viewer comment that he does it for outside, and then 4 speakers at 4 corners and 2 subwoofer outside in the backyard that create an image. I'm not doing that. I'm actually doing 6 speakers in a small room, smallish room. What they achieved, that 6 speakers, is it achieved the sound that only a big speaker in a big room can achieve. It sounds too good to be true. From my experience, it's not, because the original rooms I have set up is only 12 feet 2 inches wide, 19 by 6 inches deep, long, about 8.5 inches in ceiling. And I have that information in the last video that I described how I set up, so you can watch that with details. And I can achieve the same or very similar sound as a big speaker that costs 6 digits in a room that is 25 by 22 and 16 high ceiling. That big speaker is impossible to go into that small room. So you can't do an A/B comparison, but the sound stage, the feel, the illusion of sound in front of you and behind you, especially behind you, with only 2 speakers, it's very, very few information actually behind you. But with the ambient speaker that behind you, you are in the sound stage. But the trick is you cannot hear any sound from any individual speaker. Basically, you just cannot pinpoint any sound from any speaker. You cannot tell where the sound comes from. That's the trick. So it's easy to just set it up and have a surround sound. You can tell where the sound comes from. That's not what I'm doing. In order to get it right, you have to not able to tell whether the speakers are on or not, or which speaker is on or which speaker is not. The best way to find out is, if you cannot hear the rear speaker, you have to battle that. So I am going to do more video in the future to tell you how to set up, but I am looking forward to hook this 3 surround sound receiver up in somebody else's basement, which have a similar size room as the original room, and see what it sounds like. Yeah, I know, they kind of, it's surround sound receiver. What do you expect? Until then, see you, stay safe, bye!